You're soaring through the air in a Boeing 747. It's a magnificent piece of machinery. 4 General Electric Gen X 2B67 turbofan engines hang under the wings, roaring as they propel the plane through its descent. You sit in economy, which honestly isn't that bad in this ultra-wide jet. It's still economy, don't get me wrong, but the legroom and the space in comparison to a 737 or even a modern 787 is an appreciated difference.
Did the Boeing pay you off? What the heck?
Yeah, this is a glowing review of the new ultra-wide.
It's not, 747s are super old, man. I prefer Airbus, by the way. If any Boeing fans are out there, I do prefer Airbus. This is unsponsored. You look up from your book that you're reading, just some non-fiction junk about some ridiculous conspiracy that you had picked up from the departing airport. You thought it would make the trip quicker. An audible ping is heard from the intercom PA system. Ladies and gentlemen, we have begun our descent into Denver. Please turn off all portable electronic devices and stow them until we have arrived at the gate. In preparation for landing in Denver, be certain your seat back is straight up and your seatbelt is fastened. You look out the window to see the jet descend through the cloud layer. Below, Denver International Airport, designation KDEN, sits. Technically the largest airport in the United States, as well as the second largest in the entire world. Wait, why do you know that? You look down at the book and flip open the pages again. The words scream out at you. Denver International Airport. My God. The conspiracies. They were about the Denver International Airport all along. The reptilians, the underground bunkers, the Freemasons and the New World Order, and that damned devil-eyed horse out the front of the airport, a herald of the end days. You slam your fist into the armrest beside you, scaring the 89-year-old woman sat next to you. How could you not have known you were flying to the belly of the beast? That's because I needed to write an introduction story for this case, and there was literally nothing else. Because this is the red
is that
thread.
where it ends?
Yeah, that's where it ends. There's nothing here, Charlie. You're about to find out there was very little here. Welcome everyone to the red thread. I've read all the comments. You all wanted niche, and this is about as niche as it gets, really. The Denver International Airport conspiracy. Buckle up and remember to stow all electronics, because this trip is going to get wacky very quickly. Joined with me are my travel buddies, Isaiah and Charlie, as per usual. How are you guys doing on this little trip of ours?
Yeah, I don't know anything about the Denver airport conspiracy. All I know is that when I was going over conspiracies a while ago on stream, someone was really adamant about it, but I never bothered to look into it. So all I know is that it exists.
People love it. It's a very well-loved conspiracy theory, and I was expecting way more than what I got. Isaiah, how do you feel?
So I'm pretty familiar with the whole Denver airport thing. Back whenever I made my original conspiracy theory iceberg series, which was like the first big thing I had on the channel. I covered it briefly, talked about it for like maybe 5 minutes, and then said that I would do a full video about it later, which was a mistake, because to this day, people will comment on my video like, where's the Denver airport video? And the reason there's not a Denver airport video is because of what we're going to talk about today. But you know what? If you all wanted it, here it is. 3 years, you did your waiting. It's happening right now.
Yeah, you can't be disappointed in this. You can't be disappointed when you've been asking for it for so long.
Exactly. Yeah.
No one will be. I imagine the reason you shied away from it is due to the danger to your own life with revealing it.
Of course.
You didn't want to tackle it alone.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
that does
I was
make sense.
afraid that the reptilians would get me, but now I have you all for like human meat shields, so...
Yeah, it's like Pacific Rim when you share the neural load. We're drifting together here into the conspiracy.
There we go. What a perfect
he's back.
pop culture reference to kick us off. He's so back.
It's been
Charlie's in the driver's seat. He is ready to go.
It's been a slow few weeks with him. He was a bit rusty, but now he's back. He's coming out swinging.
He's locked in. I'm so ready.
So before we go on, just the normal notes at the start of the episode. I'd be a bad pilot if I didn't mention that this episode was brought to you all by Babel and Manscaped. More about them later on in the episode. And also the normal notes. We have a source document linked below. You can read along with us or fact check our notes. All of the conspiratorial elements are down there. It's there for you to use however you see fit. You can use it as toilet paper for a week. That's about what this conspiracy is worth, honestly. And another quick mention that we are on...
You have like a personal vitriol against
I was
it.
expecting so much from this. I really was. Like, with how much people talked about it, I was expecting like a really cool conspiracy. We'll get to it in a second. Another quick mention that we are on audio platforms like Spotify and iTunes, and you can find those linked below as well. And we highly encourage everyone to share the show with like-minded people, like-minded conspiracy people. That's the audience we want to foster. So send them to them.
Yeah, send this to the most paranoid.
Yeah, send it to the most deranged people you can think of. And we
want everyone who gets arrested for like public indecency to have the red thread playing on their iPod Nano.
Yeah, we want the very best audience possible. If you could rate the show on those audio platforms as well, that would mean a lot to us as well. All right, Denver International Airport. Let's begin now that we've got all that out of the way. So, a little bit of a background history on the airport itself. Denver International Airport opened in February 1995, 16 months behind schedule. Around $2 billion over budget. What the fuck?
Slight miscalculation. That's nothing. That's just they forgot to carry a zero somewhere.
All the money got lost in the luggage system or something. I don't know where the fuck that went.
Hoops plane crashed. It all burned up.
It replaced the Stapleton International Airport, so that guy got kicked out of the country, I guess. That airport's vanished. It was designed by a man named Curtis Fentress, who paid respect to the Rocky Mountains with a distinct white tent-like roof that mimicked snow on the mountain peaks.
I like how you avoided homage because you weren't sure how to say it.
I always fuck up homage. I didn't want to risk it.
Yeah, that's smart.
Jackson tried to do that real quick under the radar. Charlie was like, I see you.
Well,
don't you hide from me.
The script is right there in the description. For anyone that was following along, they'd be like, pay respects. Wait, where is that? It's homage.
It means the same thing.
No, that's good, Charlie. I want you to keep bullying Jackson as much as possible.
References and bullying, that's what you're here for. Even it's no different than the official podcast, really. Even before its construction, Denver International Airport was shrouded in rumors and theories. Situated 13 miles further from the city center than the existing operational airport, concerns arose about its potential impact on businesses and tourism in downtown Denver. So people were up in arms about the airport for some reason, because they were afraid that it would steal jobs, I guess, or it would impact...
Yeah, I don't get what moving the airport out of the town does to lessen the city. Like, no one's flying into the airport on accident. Who lands at an airport's like, oh, well, there's nothing in walking distance, I'm getting back on a plane. Doesn't make any sense.
Its potential impact on businesses and tourism, I imagine it would be positive impacts on tourism and businesses. It's a giant international airport, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever.
Anyway.
People are dumb.
Over time, these concerns proved partly valid as hotels and other amenities gradually sprang up closer to the airport. So I guess so the hotels disappeared from the city center and moved closer to the airport. So then downtown Denver became a bit of a shell of what it once was. The airport's unconventional features included unique artwork, a questionable underground baggage system, and mysterious time cap fueled the growth of conspiracy theories surrounding it. Today, Denver International Airport stands as one of the most mysterious airports in America, which doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things. Like, it's one of the most mysterious... What other airports are mysterious? It's like...
I mean, it is. I would say it's the most mysterious out of them. Now, like you said, is that a high bar to reach? No, but...
I wrote in this document that it suddenly makes it better than LAX. I fucking hate LAX. Flying through LAX is awful.
I've been there once and I also hated it. I hated everything about LA, to be honest with you.
Yeah. You should have gone to Denver, then you would have basked in the mysteriousness of the airport.
I feel like I've missed out by not going to the Denver International Airport.
Denver, so it's in, is it Colorado?
It's in Denver.
Yeah,
Colorado. Yes.
And where is Colorado geographically in the country? Somewhere in the middle?
It's like Midwest, kind of more Western. Like if you were to split a line down the middle, it leans west, but it's like northern Midwest. And because of how high altitude it is, that's why it's like got a lot of... Like Denver is known for being a super big like ski location.
Yeah, ski town.
People go snowboarding and stuff. Yeah.
Look
at the mountains back there.
Yeah, it's the Rocky Mountains, right?
I don't think that the Rockies run. Do they? Do the Rockies run through Colorado? I feel stupid.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
I think
wait.
they do, don't they?
It paid homage to the Rocky Mountains, right? So it would have to be.
Yeah, it has to. I'm an Appalachian boy. I'm East Coast. I've never been out there, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
They do.
they do.
They do.
Surely it would,
They do.
if it was
Okay.
paying homage to the Rocky Mountains, why would it?
Yes,
why would
okay.
it do
I'm looking
that?
at a map. They absolutely do. It's like entirely the Rocky Mountains. Yeah.
Rocky Mountain's cool, I guess. I don't know what it's got to do with the conspiracy, but it's mentioned. The airport building itself looks enormous.
I just looked at the document. I didn't notice this earlier. How your heading goes from like, oh, look how pretty the mountains are, and then your next subtitle, New World Order headquarters.
Yeah, we get straight into. There's
Okay,
nothing else to
sorry.
talk about. I want to set the scene.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
want to talk about the
That's
airport and make sure people know that this is a place where planes come to do business, and then we'll get into
Okay,
the New World
gotcha.
Order and stuff like that.
All right.
So what is the reason for this place being so large? It's the second largest airport in the entire world. If this is,
I would guess.
if it's in the middle of the America,
Is it bigger
what's the
than
point?
Atlanta though?
Yeah, it is
I
apparently.
thought Atlanta was the biggest. What the heck?
I would guess a lot of international flights maybe go through it or something, so they just made it super huge.
Oh my gosh, the entire Denver International Airport is 53 square miles.
Yeah, it's enormous,
Yeah, it is massive.
and I don't
the
understand why.
heck?
That's so much real estate.
So it's just a matter. The way they do international stuff is it's just a matter of like, we have this location that's a good place for planes to be received and let out. That like the Charlotte airport is huge in North Carolina. It's not even because Charlotte is that big of a city. It's just because that it does so many international flights that the airport's way bigger to accommodate it. So
Yeah, but surely not. Surely more international flights go through one of the large East and West Coast airports like LAX or JFK, right? Because they're closest to the international countries. It doesn't make much sense to me to have
you
the
would think.
largest
you would
airport. I guess those other airports are kind of restricted by the cities that they're in. They don't
That's
have
what I
much
was
room
about
to
to say,
expand.
because you can't do it out of like New York or LA because there's so much traffic through there anyway.
Yeah, they're kind of at peak capacity all the time. This could
Yeah,
also be one
yeah.
of those like connecting airports, like a lot of connecting flights go through it, or maybe it's a hub for one of the big carriers. I'm not sure. Regardless,
Okay, apparently the Atlanta one isn't even top 10. So
Oh,
my entire
embarrassing.
understanding of airports is completely wrong. All right, sorry.
what a
go ahead.
pathetic
I'm
airport.
just stupid. Yeah,
Um,
They really dropped the ball.
yeah, they should make it bigger.
it's disgusting.
So the reason I bring the size up though is because it does have something to do with the conspiracies. Because there's so much land used for this airport that people were quick to think like, why is that the case, and how does this reinforce our conspiratorial beliefs? As we'll go on in the next bit.
The New World Order is a conspiracy theory that suggests society's powerful elites are secretly setting up a global government structure with the goal to control the world. They achieve this by manipulating world events to suit their agenda. They're said to operate both in the shadows and in plain sight, all without being directly identified by the general public.
Shadow organization.
Yeah, and I'm sure most of you would recognize a lot of the imagery that people associate with the New World Order. I think most people are at least familiar with them.
New World Order, like, kind of is a broad term to like kind of describe any kind of like shadowy organization that's
Shadow government.
yeah, shadow government, stuff like that.
In March of 1993, a year before its official opening, Denver International Airport hosted a dedication ceremony and placed a time capsule at its south entrance. Above the capsule rests a stone plaque marking the ceremony's date and listing notable figures such as Mayor Wellington E. Webb, Governor Roy R. Romer, and Secretary of Transportation Federico Pina. The inscription reads, "The time capsule beneath this stone contains messages and memorabilia for the people of Colorado in 2094. Below this, a Freemason symbol is displayed, accompanied by the names of 2 Masonic lodges in Colorado that assisted in burying the capsule. The plaque concludes with the phrase, New World Airport Commission. It's certainly an odd message to include, but realistically is likely pointing to the nature of time capsules being something for the new world. and is not a direct reference to the conspiratorial concept.
That's my anecdote. Other people believe this is full confirmation that there's a new world order that has made it their entire plan to just plant time capsules. That's part of their plan. I don't know why.
You know what kills me more than anything about these things?
What?
Like, as someone who reads a ton of them, I hate how people think there would be a secret group of, like, rulers who are controlling everything with puppet strings behind the scenes, and they're super smart about concealing all that, but for some reason they need to constantly throw out names and symbols and signs.
That's exactly what I said too. Like, this extremely intellectual, extremely powerful group of shadow figures behind the scenes, yet they leave all of these like symbols and imagery that even just shit-stained, soiled diaper weirdos in their basement are like, wait, that's the hint. They're telling us.
Yeah,
right now.
exactly.
Like, I'm sure
they're perfect at every system of world economy, government, stuff like that, but they need to make it a Scooby-Doo game for some reason.
Yeah, that's
in
always
this case,
what I
it's not
said.
even a Scooby-Doo case, though. They just put the words New World Order or New World Airport on the fucking capsule.
Yeah, not even
itself.
a clue. They
It's
just
not even
said,
a
like,
clue.
haha, it's us.
You think the shadow?
villains.
Yeah, you think the shadow organization's just going to be like from us? It doesn't make sense.
Well, no,
With
that
love.
plays into it though. Like, have you seen Dune 2? That was one of the things. Like, in fact, we hid the atomic weapons in plain sight because no one would think to look there. It's the same concept that you see in a lot of those.
We put the Mason logo on top of it. They'll never guess it was the Masons.
They'd say it's too obvious, and they discredit them as being stupid.
Yeah, we're the real fools.
Yeah.
We're the real idiots. Yeah.
While some doubt the group, the New World Airport Commission, existence records show that the group did exist and was formed by Charles Ansbacher, chair of the Estate Council and the Arts of Humanities. The purpose of the group was to promote and arrange festivities and events prior to the airport's opening. Once the airport then opened, the group disbanded. In 2003, Steve Snyder, who worked in the public affairs section of the airport, was asked about the Freemason symbol and the words New World on the stone. He said the group aimed to elevate Denver to a world-class city, hence the name New World. Snyder emphasized that this group had no connection to the New World Order, which is exactly what someone with a connection would say.
Yeah, don't believe it for a second, fellas. The name's right on the fucking plaque. I don't know how much more obvious it can get.
Yeah, this doesn't seem like a conspiracy. This is pretty obvious to me.
New World? Question mark? What? By what do you mean? Oh, that New World? That's a different one.
Yeah, so they had created like a group within the government. I guess it is a New World Order in that case, but like a commission for the New World Airport. It was an actual group, but its entire purpose was to like set up the festivities and stuff like that for the opening of the airport itself. It wasn't some nefarious organization that was taking your tax money and starting wars in other countries or anything like that. It was just opening an airport and putting a time capsule in the ground, which I don't know. I guess that's very nefarious if you ask me.
So here's a note on Freemasonry. Freemasonry is a fraternal organization that traces its origins back to the medieval stonemason guilds. It's based on a system of moral and philosophical teachings, often using symbols and rituals to convey its principles. While Freemasonry is not a religion, it requires a belief in a higher power, and members come from diverse religious backgrounds. Lodges or local chapters are the basic organizational units of Freemasonry, and members gather regularly for meetings and ceremonies. The fraternity is known for its secrecy regarding certain aspects of its rituals and ceremonies, leading to a lot of speculation from outsiders. Freemason lodges have strict joining processes that make it impossible to easily join.
Yeah, how much do you guys... I'm sure you guys know way more about Freemasonry than me.
Not a ton for me, actually. All I know is, like, the general conspiratorial stuff around Freemasonry. I don't really know, like, historically what the Freemasons were doing or have done.
I feel like it's just a boys' club, kind of like a private group, and because of the exclusivity, everyone on the outside, it's like they're doing mysterious things. Maybe I'm off though, but that's what it sounds like to me.
So the Masons originally started, they get their name all the way back from Solomon's builders. So in the Old Testament of the Bible, King Solomon, son of David, builds the temple in Jerusalem, and he assembles like the greatest minds in the nation to build it together. So they're Solomon's Masons. and eventually groups would later adopt the name from them of the Freemasons. So the Freemasons, as they began, were effectively a think tank that was supposed to be put together of the highest minds from different cultures. So it was like, it traces its roots back to like Europe. So you could think of like, you had figures in art, you had figures in government, you had figures in, war, army, stuff like that, who could all meet together outside of prying eyes of the public to discuss what was best for the nation, what was best for, future plans, stuff like that. As it began to spread, it broke into lodges, it became more systematic, which is actually funny enough where the Illuminati got its beginning too. The Illuminati originally began as the same thing, a group of people to meet and discuss stuff. This is why all of the early founding fathers in the US were all Masons. It's because they were all high up in politics, so they'd attend these meetings so that they would discuss stuff with each other, which is also why it's ripe for conspiracy theories and stuff like that. What that means in the modern age, though, is that Freemasonry is mostly just kind of like the old guard, still keeping the place of what it once was. I know a lot of people who are Masons, and I've talked to them about like what their beliefs with that are and everything. But one note is they do have to believe in some kind of god, because the idea is you can't bring people into an organization like this that have no moral compass aside from what they believe temporarily. They have to have some kind of framework. So you have to be religious in some sense. And they keep a lot of the old traditions as far as the rituals and practices go, of like saying the words to initiate someone into the group. But other than that, it's mostly just like people, it's like you said, a boys club nowadays. At one point, I do think there was a purpose for it, because you had all these different people who, in their normal course of career, would never communicate with each other, who were now able to communicate with each other at these meetings away from the public. But now it's kind of just like, it seems to be just an older group who is maintaining traditions that they were raised to be important. But it's not as pressed upon anymore. I know a bunch of people who have done work in Hollywood, showbiz, stuff like that, who say there's a bunch of older people who are part of the Masons or societies like that, but none of the new generation is partaking in it. So I don't know, it's kind of dying out in a way, but it's interesting what it was at one point.
Yeah, it's kind of seems like a post-college fraternity almost.
That's for what it is now. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah. So I don't think that through Avenue previously and historically with the Freemasons, because it was mostly successful, powerful people, I guess you could argue that it's kind of like New World Order-esque back then, because these people were making important decisions and they were kind of discussing in these private Freemason lodges and stuff like that about what their actions would be and stuff like that. But I don't know if that would have continued to these days. What do you think?
Probably not, and I don't think they'd be putting their stamp on an airport and shit. I feel like if they're trying to meet in secret, the last place they'd want to be meeting is something that has that much traffic going through it.
True.
I mean, put it this way, right? Like, nowadays we take for granted how easy communication is. Like, Jackson's in Australia, and we're talking to him. Like, in 100 years ago, I'd have to send you a letter and we'd wait 2 weeks to get a response from each other, right?
Yeah, that would have made for a great podcast.
Yeah, only for you to talk about how much you like Boeing planes for some reason. Be a waste of a letter.
You just throw it out immediately into the fire.
Yeah, disgusting. This podcast is over. But we take for granted now how easy communication is. Back in 1700s, if you had beef with somebody or you were publicly opposed to them, it would take years to settle that unless you met in person and actually figured it out. So a lot of the times these masonry meetings would be a collection of people from all different sides of arguments or the political spectrum. And everything was kept secret, so the public couldn't find out exactly what was said, but they would hash stuff out. They would, try to make stuff work in governance and stuff like that. And you kind of needed to have these collections of people who all trusted each other, who were sworn to secrecy, and were willing to all meet in one location to figure everything out at once. So, yeah, the meetings back then were much more important than they would be now, right?
Yeah, because like you said, communication is so easy. Two powerful people could just MSN Messenger each other right now if they wanted to.
Yeah, hop on a Discord call.
Yeah. Yeah, super easily. So you don't need these kinds of cool clubhouses and stuff like that. Or even in the modern era, like country clubs and stuff like that, like gated communities and stuff like that, kind of foster that same kind of attitude. Not to the scale of these super powerful people, but still, same idea.
There's a tablet above the dedication stone with the Freemason symbol again and the text in Braille. There's a popular theory that this is actually a keypad that unlocks the time capsule, when in reality it appears to just be a Braille translation of the main plaque.
There's no rationale for why it would be a keypad or anything. They saw like the little buttons. So they didn't realize it was Braille, and they're like, it must be a keypad.
Why would they give that? That's what kills me. Why would they let random people touch the secret keypad if that's really what it is?
Well, because it's such a complicated key to get in. Like it looks like a spaceship controls or something. Like no one's gonna get that.
They made it look like Braille, so people are going to be touching it all the fucking time.
What is this for? Blind people or something?
That's actually so true. If it's a keypad, they've made it for the people that are going to be touching it as frequently as possible.
It's really funny too the way that's worded. There's a plaque that appears to be Braille. Some think it's a secret keypad. Upon inspection, it's Braille.
It's very obviously Braille, but because the Freemason symbol is right next to it. The Freemason symbol, by the way, for those that don't know, is like a little square ruler with a like compass above it and then a G in the middle. Mm-hmm. It's used on the main plaque as well. And then on this mini plaque below the main plaque, which is the Braille translation, it has that symbol to the left of it. So that's why people think that it's something more nefarious or something more conspiratorial. They think it's a keypad that'll unlock it'll unlock the time capsule, which, by the way, is going to be unlocked anyway in 2094. It's not like it's never going to be opened. Why would they even need a keypad for that?
Do we know what's in the time capsule? Because usually when they do those ceremonies, they show you everything that goes in and then they bury it.
I don't think it was anything important. It was just like trinkets and stuff from the time.
It's the blood of a child used to unlock the third seal of Revelation.
Oh yeah, here it looks like they do know exactly what's in it because it's a fucking time capsule.
Yeah, so
it contains.
Do you have it there?
Yeah, it contains coins which are signed by opening day balls from Coors Field, Mayor Wellington Webb's sneakers, and a few Blackhawk casino tokens.
Wait, so the mayor just put his sneakers in there?
Yeah, he just put his shoes in there.
Why did they think that was that important?
That's pretty good. That's pretty funny.
We need to open it ASAP. We need the code quick.
Quick feet. Hurry.
This is big stuff. 2094 is not ready for this.
Well, I'm sure the conspiratorial angle would be that they replaced Mayor Wellington's sneakers. Mayor Wellington, by the way, sounds like a cartoon character. But anyway, they replaced these sneakers with like New World Order stuff, or maybe the keypad unlocks something greater. Maybe it unlocks like a secret entrance to a bunker or something like that. That's the idea from them anyway. They think it's a keypad. The time capsule at DIA, the Denver International Airport, is likely marked with the Freemason logo because the Grand Lodge of Colorado, so the main Freemason Lodge of Colorado, conducted the cornerstone laying ceremony for the airport. The Freemasons being involved in new public buildings and projects wasn't and still isn't uncommon. It's actually pretty common that they help put on these festivities and take a part in the community in this way. So this isn't even like a rare occurrence where they like
that's also another reason people get so conspiratorial about the symbol popping up everywhere. For the last 50 years, a lot of what the Freemasons done is like charity work. So there's like hospitals dedicated to them. There's like, charities dedicated to them. So they'll put their symbol on stuff after they build it. So that's what leads to like, oh, all these buildings have their symbol on it. I wonder what that could mean. But yeah, you'll see them at parades and stuff. They'll wear the little fez cap. There's the tiny cars. They drive around the tiny cars, stuff like that.
Yeah, they're not, in my opinion, they're not that secretive. I mean, what goes on behind Freemason doors is secretive, but they're not like, you never see them.
The reason it's so conspiratorial is because there's like a bunch of different degrees and ranks you can climb, and the higher you go, the more secretive they are about what happens there. And a lot of that, again, I think is just down to tradition. There's no goat sacrifice, there's nothing like that going on. But again, the source of the conspiracy is that at one point, very powerful world figures would meet in secret to discuss things the public wasn't to know about. So
that,
you know,
I mean, if that
it's
came
a buffet for conspiracy.
If that came out today, like world leaders were meeting in private to discuss things, there would be conspiracies about that immediately. Even though it does happen, there's things like the G8 conference and stuff like that, which is literally world leaders meeting up and discussing things. So it's just something that's always happened. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move on to talk about the secret underground bunkers, which makes up the majority of the conspiracies around Denver International Airport. But first, we're going to take a quick break to hear from the sponsors of this episode. One of the coolest things you can do with your time is learn a new language. Everyone agrees with that. It's just really cool to learn a new language. There's something powerful, I think, in being able to understand and, you know, relate to other cultures. And learning a new language, learning that culture's language is your key to being able to do that. So it's a very powerful thing. Whether it's Japanese or German or French, you're adding flavor to your life. And one of the easiest ways I've found to start that learning journey, that journey to adding flavor, is with Babel. Babel is a science-backed language learning app that actually works. Its quick 10-minute lessons are designed to teach you the language in the most accessible, approachable way possible, and they've been designed by over 150 language experts, real professionals, real geniuses, so you can learn in confidence that everything is designed in a way to maximize your learning potential. I've even been using Babel to learn a bit of French here and there for fun. I feel confident that I could say hi to people, ask about where things are if I'm lost in Paris, know how to order food, you know, stuff like that. I could say Je m'appelle Jackson and feel confident in knowing that they're going to understand that my name is Jackson. I'd also be confident I'm saying it with the correct pronunciation because Babel's speech recognition technology helps to improve that for you. Studies from Yale, Michigan State University, and others all claim that Babel is better. One study even went as far to say that using Babel for 15 hours is the equivalent to a full semester at college. So just think about how much tuition you could save. Plus, all of Babel's 14 language courses are backed by their 20-day money-back guarantee. So if you go in there and you realize, hey, French really isn't for me, you can back out and not be any worse to wear for the decision. And if this is all sounding fantastic to you, it gets even better because here's a special limited time deal for our listeners, that's you guys. Right now, get 55% off your Babel subscription, but only for you guys at babbel.com/redthread. Get 55% off Babel at babbel.com/redthread. That's BABBEL.com/redthread. Links will be below. Rules and restrictions may apply. Thank you to Babel for sponsoring this episode. Please go check them out and learn a new language. It really is like a very useful use of your time. So go check them out if you want to learn a new language. It's a great tool that I highly recommend. Now, over to me again. Hey, it's me again. Now let's talk about the magical company that makes sure all of your below-the-belt hair is taken care of. Manscaped. We're all guys with hair. You don't need to be embarrassed about what's, hiding downstairs. We've all got it. We all know what it's like. With Manscaped, though, you have the tools available to groom and tidy everything up and make it look like a piece of fine artwork. Introducing the Lawn Mower 5.0 Ultra. This bad boy comes with 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, so you can get the classic trim, or you can go fully smooth if that's what you want with their foil blade. It's also equipped with dual LED spotlights, so if you're stuck out in the woods at night with a hairy bush, Manscaped has you covered, and you can meticulously shape your junk under the warm glow of the lawnmower's flashlights. Talk about getting back to man's roots, am I right? Look at that. You can do it out in the dark late at night. It's got a flashlight on this. That's actually so cool. I feel like I'm like holding a piece of sci-fi equipment right now. There's also the Weed Whacker 2.0, this thing right here, which is also super useful for me as a man with a larger than normal nose with a few annoying hairs that like to come out and say hello every now and then. It's made getting rid of them super easy and convenient. I just shove it up there and get rid of those hairs whenever I feel like it. And the Weed Whacker 2.0 is now a staple of my travel kit, and I really wouldn't leave the house without it. I also love Manscaped's Crop Preserver and Crop Smoother lotions. These bad boys over here, got to turn it around the right way. These guys, they're fantastic. They're a lotion and deodorant that'll make your balls feel fantastic after a shave. Highly recommend using them after you shave because your balls will come out feeling so fresh. All in all, Manscaped really is one hell of a fantastic product that's worth every penny. I use them all the time and I love Manscaped dearly. I really do. They're a fantastic company, a lot of fun to work with, and their products are fantastic. You can get 20% off and free shipping with code REDTHREAD at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with code REDTHREAD at manscaped.com. This upcoming St. Patrick's Day, make sure your little hairy leprechaun is luckier than ever with Manscaped. Highly recommend checking them out. Big thank you to Manscaped and a massive, massive thank you to everyone for listening this far in and checking out the folks who make putting on these shows possible. Enormous thank you to everyone. And back to Denver. Isaiah, did you want to start talking about the underground bunker?
Yes. I also want to make the note in my head when I was describing what the Masons look like and I said Fez Cap and Tiny Car, I now remember that's the Shriners, not the Masons. That is a different group.
Embarrassing.
I wouldn't
have
known. You called yourself out.
Yeah. I did call myself out. That was for the that wasn't for you all. That was for the comments. I could probably gaslight Jackson into thinking I know God.
You could gaslight me into anything, yeah.
But
I would
for the comments, that was the Shriners. That was my bad. As soon as I said it, I'm like, that feels wrong. Okay, anyway.
You're gonna anger both the Shriners and the Freemasons. You have both organizations.
Yeah, well, they're all the same thing. They're all sacrificing
that.
Goats and stuff. And yeah. They're all devil worshippers as far as I go. Amen, brother.
Oh,
anyway.
Wait, real quick. I just remembered the Freemasons have a subreddit, so you can freely go and look at all the Freemasons.
Well, it's only for the that's lower ranking Freemasons. You're not going to be meeting the Tom Cruises in there or anything.
Yeah. We all know that when you hit level 18 degree Freemason, you have to delete your Reddit account.
Yeah, and you have to get off Reddit.
And then you have to prestige, and then you get a cool weapon skin.
and then you get a cool new hat.
A new fez, or whatever it was.
A new fez hat, yeah.
All right, continue on about the bunkers.
Yeah. One of the more widely passed around theories surrounding the airport involves the existence of underground bunkers and tunnels. While the airport does indeed have... I'm sorry, I know I'm one sentence in, but just the idea of like the airport being like, yeah, we actually transport baggage using these underground tunnels, and then people like, I know they're hiding the underground tunnels.
So stupid.
While the airport does indeed have underground tunnels for transporting baggage, some believe there's more to it. Allegedly, contractors working on the airport during its construction reported seeing signs of bunker entrances and mysterious tunnels beyond what's publicly known. The airport's significant delays, massive budget overruns, and multi-million-dollar malfunctioning baggage systems have contributed to fuel speculation. Some theorize that these underground areas are reserved for billionaires and global political elites in case of a global catastrophe, much like the bunkers at the end of the hit movie 2012.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, that's a pop culture reference in the document this time.
God, you're writing like you're on Tumblr with that, Jackson. Jesus.
Yep, that's right. I just did that.
Yep, I do that now.
I was getting bored writing. I had to...
That's me.
Bet you're wondering how this pop culture reference got in here. Well, let me take you to the start.
Oh, wait, it doesn't even end there. And so it goes, yes, that's a pop culture reference in the document this time. We're getting better and better at this with every episode.
Jesus.
No, it's perfect.
To want to be an American idiot. There are even claims of a tunnel stretching from the airport all the way to the North American Aerospace Defense Command, which is NORAD, in Colorado Springs, over 100 miles away. Additionally, there are rumors about the presence of reptoids or aliens lurking beneath the airport.
All just unsubstantiated nonsense. Like, there's no
Yeah.
no
Now,
evidence.
I will say, if you were the kind of person who thinks that there is some kind of new world order, government conspiracy, whatever. And then the world's largest airport gets built, and it's $2 billion over America's largest airport gets built, and it's $2 billion over budget. And then there's all these underground tunnels and stuff. I see why people are attracted to the idea of something going on there, right?
Yeah, but it just takes 2 seconds to ask yourself why. Like, if it's some kind of underground bunker to survive an apocalypse, why the fuck would they build it here in a place that's so publicly accessible where people could just wander their way in? It wouldn't make any sense.
Well, okay, wait. Counterpoint.
Because the planes have to get there, Charlie.
The planes land there, and then they get out and go straight into the bunkers. If it's a world-ending event, like all the planes go to Denver, and like immediately they get ushered off the planes into the bunkers. That's the logic there, I assume. That's why an airport might make sense.
That it needs to be at an airport. But then it would be, if that was the case, it would be at an unmarked location. Because also this is another thing. They act like they're trying to put together the clue. The people who believe in the Denver conspiracy act like they're trying to put together the clues of like where the elites hide their weapons and like tech and stuff like that. But we have evidence of where they do, because like during the Cold War, we knew they were building a bunch of like missile silos across the United States, and we were never told where. And then after the Cold War, we find out they're all in like fields in Wyoming, just like absolute middle of nowhere locations. Like during the Manhattan Project, where did they build a lot or refine a lot of the uranium for the bombs? They did it in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, a place that, you know, no one would expect. So we know that they put them in places no one thinks to look. Why would they throw their most important base underneath the largest airport in America?
That's a really good point. Especially, that wouldn't make any sense at all. Pretty much everywhere that's super small would be a much better target to do things like that.
Exactly.
Easier to control.
If something like this did exist, it's in a town that's not even on a map, right?
Yeah, but then how are all the rich people going to get there on a moment's notice when the world is ending or whatever?
Well, how the fuck are they going to get to the Denver International Airport on a moment's notice unless they're already there?
What do you mean?
They'd have to fly in.
A plane.
Well, then they'd fly into the other place as well. I'm assuming
so all these private planes are going to like fly into some small town in Kentucky.
Yeah, they absolutely could.
Where are they
going to
land? No, they couldn't.
They'd build an airstrip for it.
Well, then we got the same problem then.
What's the problem?
Well, it doesn't have to be a big airstrip. Yeah. They're not bringing 747s full of like world leaders and Senate members.
But it's like little private jets. There's a lot of powerful people that are probably in this new world order. So it would be constant planes.
Which is
all you need is a half-mile runway and you're good.
Yeah,
that's it. Just one strip.
I can see. Okay, so I can see the logic of making Denver Airport.
I see the logic. Yes, I see where the dots connect.
Yeah, I can see how that. I just think it falls apart though, because let's say you're just Joe Schmo. We're there. We're at the international airport because we're going to fuck the Wendigo or something, right? So we're at a layover, and all of a sudden we see fucking hundreds of powerful people coming into the airport and going underground. We're gonna start connecting dots. Like, wait a minute. This is
way too many eyes.
Wait, but at that point it doesn't matter because the New World Order, that's an emergency situation. The tsunamis from 2012 or whatever are coming. It's over. Unless we get into the bunker with them.
Which we could, because they do in that movie too.
Just follow the movie. That's
they
fine.
do. They get on the ark. You're right. The three of us behind them, we choke out the three guys in the back and we put on their clothes.
Yeah.
And then we get in line and walk with them. And then we have to take part in the blood orgy that happens underground.
And that could all be avoided if they just went to fucking Oak Ridge. Because I'd have no clue that they were in Oak Ridge. I wouldn't see them.
Well, someone will. Someone in Oak Ridge will.
One guy will, but by then
a dude. Just fucking dude over there sees it.
Like when they were building missile silos in the middle of Wyoming, the property owner knew, right? Like guys like that, and they were paid to keep quiet. But it's not like the world knew. It's not like Russia knew where the missiles were at, right?
Yeah, of course. There's more strategic importance in hiding that kind of stuff, though.
There's strategic importance in hiding your fucking Noah's Ark as well, I would imagine, and not letting normal people on.
What if it's just a tunnel system to the Rocky Mountains, and then the bunkers are built underneath the Rocky Mountains? That's what I would think would make the most sense.
That would be more likely.
Yeah, that would make a little more sense
than
because it's like everyone
airport.
Who comes to the bunker has to fly into the Denver International Airport, and then they get ferried in the tunnels to underneath the Rocky Mountains, which is where the bunkers actually are. and being underneath a
Do
mountain.
they ferry them with the little tram like in the picture? Do they put
Yeah,
them
yeah,
their
yeah. In the little
cargo boxes?
baggage carriers.
Epstein's in there right
Yeah,
now.
he's over at that bunker right now, making good use
Cruising
of
to freedom, yeah. Okay. All right. In reality, the underground space at Denver International Airport serves a much more mundane and practical function. During its construction, a sophisticated baggage system was planned, which required a large amount of tunnels and conveyor systems beneath the airport. Although it was never fully implemented and ultimately deemed a failure due to technical problems, the tunnels themselves still exist. Today, they are used for various logistical functions.
it. Yeah, so I think they're still just used to carry like luggage around. Like we have that photo
That
there.
is interesting, though, that they build all those tunnels then can't use them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is weird.
That's probably why they
what
went
an
$2 billion
enormous
over budget.
waste. Yeah,
I don't know
Surely
how
you
you
would.
How do you fuck that up though? If you're just using it to transport luggage around, surely it can't be that difficult.
Yeah, how do the conveyor belts just put conveyor belts
Yeah.
down there? Is that a problem? Yeah.
No, it was a state-of-the-art baggage system, so I assume it was like using teleportation or something. They couldn't figure it
Oh
out.
yeah, he was using the blood of infants to move.
I don't know why they needed to reinvent it and like spend $2 billion trying to create all these tunnels. It's like me playing Factorio or something. Like there was no need for this system, this overreach of budget and stuff like that, which clearly didn't pan out. Surely, if you're going to commit $2 billion to making this whole underground system or whatever of like baggage superiority, they would nail the technical specifications first and make sure that it would work. But apparently not. Apparently it just didn't work, so they scrapped the idea while the tunnels were still built. It's crazy waste of money.
Yeah. To finish off this, airport officials have addressed the conspiracy theories by offering explanations and even tours to journalists and online figures to debunk the myths surrounding the alleged underground bunkers. Of course, this somehow fueled the conspiracy rumors even more. All right, so hold on. I think we now need to change our position a bit. I think we need to say that it is a conspiracy, that there is like reptiles down there and stuff, so that we get a free tour and get to play around in the miles of tunnels underneath Denver.
Yeah, that sounds super fun. I don't know. Tunnels, yay.
Whee! I'm under the airport. Yeah.
All right, forget you guys.
Yeah, you can go.
I thought it was cool. You know what? This is my podcast now. Hey, everybody, welcome. It's just me now, the Red Thread. The only one here who wants to live a little, have a little fun.
The only one who appreciates tunnels.
The only one who really appreciates I do appreciate tunnels. Anytime I go somewhere there's an abandoned location and it has a tunnel, that's a banger. That's a 10 out of 10.
You know, I will agree with you. Tunnels are pretty cool after
Yeah.
thinking about it some more.
Tunnels are great. I love that.
Cool. Shut up, Charlie. You're just trying to make me feel better.
Damn.
I know what you're doing.
You saw through my ruse. I thought it was clever.
I'm not flying 30 hours to just roam around the Denver airport tunnels, I'm afraid.
I call that a lack of dedication.
Yeah, you just don't get it.
No journalistic integrity.
Yeah, clearly.
All right. So that concludes the baggage part, the tunnel baggage part of this conversation. Let's move on to the apocalyptic artwork. So the Denver airport is filled with artwork that has raised our eyebrows. One in particular is a pair of murals by artist Leo Tanguma, titled "Children of the World Dream of Peace" and "In Peace and Harmony with Nature." Rumors and theories about these murals have spread, linking Nazi or Illuminati ties as well as further tying into New World Order themes. So the murals themselves are quite like I don't know how I would describe them. They're pretty cool.
I will say I like them. I think they're neat. I will say though that when you've never heard of the Denver conspiracy, and then someone presents information where they're like, there's miles of unused tunnels. It's $2 billion over budget. It has masonry logo. And this is the artwork. It's enough to be like, okay, maybe something cool's here.
Yeah.
So like the artwork definitely attributes to that. But in isolation, I mean, they're pretty cool art pieces.
Yeah.
I like
It's
it.
a really interesting style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Children of the World Dream of Peace starts with a soldier equipped with a gas mask that carries a gun and a large curved sword in each hand. The sword appears to be stabbing a poor, defenseless dove. Obviously, doves are the sign of peace, so the soldier is killing peace. To the left of the soldier is a sweeping landscape of crying mothers holding lifeless babies with what appears to be scared, upset children hiding right next to them. The soldier appears dominating and menacing, standing over crumbling buildings on fire. So obviously the idea is like war and the victims of war and stuff like that. It's a very confronting piece, and an airport is an interesting place to put that for
That's
sure.
what I was thinking. That seems a little heavy for an airport. Usually you'd want something super neutral just to be there.
Yeah.
But that's what art is. Art is
I
confronting
think it's
sometimes.
interesting for, especially an international airport, right? Because a lot of people could be coming in who are from war-torn locations, stuff like that. And think of the title of the work, Children of the World Dream of Peace, right? Like, it's very heavy symbols to throw, again, at an airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can understand how in connection with all the other things that conspiracy theorists might latch onto in the airport, how they would then look at these like very confronting pieces of artwork, which are great, by the way. I really do think that there's value to them and they're good pieces. But they might see that and then add it in connection with all the other conspiratorial elements happening, especially if it reinforces their beliefs that they have just developed. So conspiracy theorists believe that the painting shows messages foretelling the future, and the paintings have been reversed to hide this. So conspiracy theorists believe that the order of the paintings have been reversed, and what it's actually doing, it's a prophecy about how evil will come back and a time of war will take place in the near future. Which it's not a crazy prediction, but I don't think that was the intent.
I mean, it's funny because the way the paintings are done, it shows war, and then it shows children being better than the war, and then a world of peace, right? Which is a fun, like, little symbol, especially because in the last picture, all the kids are holding flags from different parts of the world. So it's like, it's very interesting, but then to see that and be like, what if it's backwards? What if the soldier kills the children?
And then we go back to war, and then the dove dies at the end.
And then the dove dies, which of course is symbolism of God, and the elites are godless, so they want to kill God. That's what all that means, of course.
Oh, okay. I thought you took it in a deeper direction. I thought it was just peace. I thought doves were peace.
I'm just putting on my Wendigoon hat for a second. Yeah, it means they're gonna kill God. Yeah. That's what.
You're clearly more cultured than I am when it comes to art. You look far deeper into it.
With absolutely insane paranoid ramblings. Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty cultured. Yeah.
So then the next painting by Tanguma is In Peace and Harmony with Nature, which follows the same theme of a depressing, emotion-evoking painting, which moves on to a happier one. So there's a transition from a very depressing painting of like forests burning and children crying and stuff like that into a happier setting. So the second part of the painting shows happy, celebrating children from all nationalities surrounding a bright, colorful flower with animals throughout the painting looking happy and healthy. There are no burning cities or trees and no coffins in the second painting, whereas in the first there are a lot of those things. Conspiracy theorists believe that there is more to this painting than the depiction of climate change and the impact humans have on nature because of the burning trees. Some believe this painting shows why the secret group behind the scenes wants to control the population, seeing the world as overpopulated. I don't know. they're looking super deep into this stuff at this point, trying to make sense of it. In the first part of the painting, a caged quetzal bird is shown, which can be seen as an allegory for extinction, fueling the theory of a mass extinction event happening, and the airport being a safe hub for select members to emerge in the new world unscathed. Theorists see the plant that the children are gathered around in the second part as a symbol for the new world government. So the children are surrounding the new world government, and this is just like a lot of over-the-top lunacy, in my opinion. It's a very clear message that I think the artist is trying to portray here in these paintings, and the conspiracy theorists have latched onto it and gone in like a wacky direction.
Well, I mean, like you said, it's pretty self-evident. War hurts the innocent. The innocent make war go away. The world is better now. Like, it's not. It's not that complex.
You have to,
unless it's backwards.
Yeah, you have to go on like
backwards.
Actual stupid juice to like try and pervert that into a different direction. Like, it's super obvious what it's trying to convey. It's just one of those things where you're looking for these things to confirm what you already convince yourself is real. Yeah, and there's just nothing you can really do to convince someone otherwise after you've done that. You're just believing because you want to believe in it. That's it. There's no evidence or anything.
You'll see whatever you want to believe in at this point if you're looking that deep into it.
What I always find
so,
fascinating, though, is
what?
they use this as real evidence, just literally fucking art pictures. They're like, wait, it's confirmed right here that the mass extinction event is coming. Look at this painting. It's right there. It's on its way.
Yeah.
As if it's like cavemen scrolling on walls telling of their history and stuff. Yeah. Like, again, they just need to throw clues out for us all over the place. Yeah.
Well, again, it's like they don't understand that multiple people can have different interpretations of art as well. Like, just because they see something there doesn't mean that's the intent of the artist. You don't know until you can confirm it with the artist, if the artist would ever say that. The artist himself, Tanguma, was influenced by horrific events from the perspective of a child and innocence that children possess, so that's why he decided to draw these pieces. Several of the depicted children are based on real-life individuals, each with their own story that Tanguma adapted. Among them are a boy who tragically took his own life, a girl who fell victim to abuse, and brothers who advocated for peace in Afghanistan. So a lot of these are like actual real-life experiences that he's drawn from. And again, it's a very compelling piece of artwork. All of them are, and they clearly mean a lot to the artist and the communities that the artist is from and the people that he's depicting. So it does feel a bit like fucked up to then twist that into a conspiratorial agenda where there is none. So it's quite unfortunate.
Oh, she was addicted to substances? I want to see receipts.
Yeah,
Where's your
prove it.
Source?
Even if you did provide that, the immediate thing would be the Freemasons faked this evidence. This isn't real.
Yeah, there's
Of
no
course, yeah,
convincing.
Yeah, you cannot win.
And then at the end of it, it would be, oh, so you're manipulating these real stories to get your agenda across.
True, yep.
You could just circular reason to infinity. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's such a shame because if this artwork was anywhere else, it wouldn't have had this impact, and in fact, it probably would have had an entirely more beneficial impact.
I think it's a very cool series of art. I wish airports looked like this instead of just the stupid like orange and blue circles. You know, like give it some color, some style,
or a message behind it as well, like a very clear and powerful message, like modern art. A lot of like modern art in current airports and stuff is really boring and bland, and they just want to get you through the airport as quick as possible or to the duty free area so you can buy overpriced stuff. This at least has soul behind it. The artist very clearly cares about what he's painting. It's great pieces of art in my opinion. Unfortunately, the impact of the theories around these paintings, like I said, have been immense on Tanguma. He lost 2 valuable commissions, and according to his daughter and collaborator Darlene, both of them were harassed and received various death threats over the years from lunatics. And I actually went and confirmed this on his Facebook page and stuff like that. The very first post from December 1st, 2023, so the most recent post he made, it's just a lovely time lapse of him painting a beautiful mural, another beautiful mural. The fucking only comment on it is from a guy saying, "Why don't you explain to people the real meanings behind all the Denver, Colorado airport art? The people are tired of the lies, and you elites covering up the truth." My opinion.
Oh my god, that's so fucking embarrassing. What a fucking loser.
It's awful. So I talked to the guys before this episode, and we are going to send the ad revenue, the YouTube ad revenue from this episode, over to Leo as thanks for contributing to the world of art in this capacity, and hopefully offset some of the negativity that the conspiratorial side of the world has led to him. It won't make up for it, but it's a gesture that I think is nice to make, I guess. So I highly recommend everyone in the audience go check Leo Tanguma out. Links will be in the description as well. Only nice things though. Don't be dicks. Just go engage with his art. Check it out. Leave some nice comments and stuff like that. I think he would really appreciate that.
Try to offset the insanity if you can.
Yeah.
Now, not that we don't engage in some, selective insanity ourselves, but not against a guy.
You won't see not Jackson on Facebook leaving mean messages to like a Wendigo believer or something.
Yeah, we may target the Wendigo or like, some ethereal thing. We're not bullying a guy, at least not a living one.
This is
maybe Epstein, but that's different.
like any element of like looking into this guy's background and stuff, it becomes abundantly obvious he's just a really wholesome artist who draws on his experiences to create really compelling, really evocative art. Like there's nothing at all from him that screams he's an elite or someone who's got a hidden agenda or anything like that. It's just a man creating art, a nice old man creating art who's been creating art for decades. And to leave comments like that on his videos of him just drawing or painting or creating is just absolutely like ridiculous and so low, and you have to be like so delusional to do that, honestly.
For what it's worth, Leo, if I had an airport, I would want you to paint it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would love to see more of his art. Does anyone want to go onto a wild left pivot?
Yes, this is my. Oh my gosh, I know. I read a second ago. This is my favorite part of the whole thing.
All right, wild left pivot over to Isaiah for his favorite part of the Denver airport.
This is so insane. I love this. When I saw this picture okay, for those that don't know, I promised to do this video 3 years ago, and I started doing research. I saw this and was like, okay. And immediately noped out. I was like, okay, I get it. I see what this is.
Yeah, I see what this is.
All right. Denver International Airport features a unique runway design arranged in a rotating fan-shaped pattern. This configuration is intended to facilitate takeoffs and landing in various wind conditions from different directions. However, some have suggested that this layout resembles a swastika, leading to accusations of Nazi or fascist symbolism. Denver Airport has avoided directly addressing these theories, leading some to speculate about their validity. Nevertheless, an aerial view reveals that the supposed, quote, swastika-shaped runway is uneven and misshapen, casting doubt on the theory's credibility. In terms of runway design, they were configured this way so that up to 4 planes could take off and land at the same time, which would increase the efficiency of the airport. This isn't an entirely uncommon means of runway expansion at airports, and the layout could realistically be explained by zoning permissions and compatibility with airplane navigation routes.
Yeah, so that's the boring explanation. The true explanation is there's Nazis on the Denver airport. What are people huffing?
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I wish I had some. Because, I mean, look, even at this image, like, this is the highlight of where the swastika would be. But you can keep going. There's other runways that shoot off from it. This is very selectively choosing which ones.
You're just choosing the ones that almost vaguely kind of resemble a misshapen swastika.
At that point, you could go even further and like look at the fields around the airport. Like you could
do the same thing
fence
further.
Lines.
Yeah.
No.
You could just drag it out even more.
Again, this is much like the art thing. You're going to see swastikas wherever you want to see them, basically.
Yeah, true.
They're just lines, man. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah, you can draw lines on anything.
It's so funny how, like, again, we talked about the code, how, like, for some reason these people think the elites need to give us hints as to what they're planning or whatever. But the idea they'd be like, we're going to make the runways into a swastika, but a very poorly drawn one. Very lopsided swastika.
It's so ridiculous.
And who's that clue even for? The people on the ISS, the International Space Station? Like,
yeah. So there's some Russian up there, like, he's like drinking his coffee, looking at the surveillance, and his hands start shaking. Good God.
You son of a bitch.
They're back.
At Denver.
At Denver.
Like actual just lunacy. I love it though. It's so funny.
Oh, and Blucifer. I forgot about Blucifer.
This one seems so interesting. I want this one. So this is demonic statues. So Blucifer, a 32-foot tall fiberglass sculpture, towers over Pina Boulevard outside the airport terminal. This giant blue statue with flowering red eyes named Mustang is kind of a protector of travelers guarding this airport, said by Stacy Stegman, the airport's senior vice president of communications, marketing, and customer service. The horse was made by Luis Jimenez, who died while creating it in 2006 when he was 65. Part of the horse came loose while he was working on it, and it severed an artery in his leg, and he bled to death. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying.
That is
So to be fair,
The horse has killed.
if we're working on the assumption that there is an elite government, they're doing weird stuff, making a giant blue glowing red-eyed horse statue that killed its creator, that's pretty strange, admittedly.
That does go pretty hard.
That's weird.
The horse was completed by his studio after his death, and it was installed at the airport more than 15 years after it was commissioned. As there have been multiple delays with the sculpture, including from lawsuits, it officially made its debut in February 2008. The horse's haunting red eyes have been a big point of discussion, being labeled by some as demonic-looking. However, they actually attribute to Lewis's father, who owned a neon sign shop. The horse itself is meant to represent the American West, particularly the wild mustangs that roam the Colorado plains. There was a lot of public outcry for the statue, with a Facebook page by Rachel Holton being made called DIA's Heinous Blue Mustang Has Got to Go. She even made a poem that goes hard about the saying, blue body and red eyes. It's ugly enough to kill. Welcome to Denver. Don't look at my eyes. You will die by evil fire and never fly again. Nasty blue privates. Deadly glowing evil eyes. It killed its maker. What the fuck is this?
These are the conspiracy theorists. This is what they do. They're writing poems about it now.
That's not even a poem. It didn't rhyme once. What the heck?
Poems don't have to rhyme when they're this deep in meaning and passion.
Oh my god!
She mentioned the eyes like 3 times.
Nasty blue privates. Wait, can you see its? Can you see its junk? Hold on.
Wait, can you? Maybe.
I can't
didn't
tell.
look that
Hold
close.
on. Guy, let's get the red penis inspection team on this.
You must have to be able to.
Hold up.
Oh wait,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
I
get
think
a
I can
different
see it.
angle.
Yeah, she's right.
Hold on. I'm pulling up
I don't think so. I can't really tell.
Google enhance. Hold on, I'm zooming in. I'm trying to find
get in
this
there.
one. I feel like Vosh right now. Yes, you can. Oh my gosh, you can.
There's horse stick on it? Oh my god.
Yeah, well, it's not okay. So again, not to sound like Vosh, but you know how like horses, it's not always out, right? Like it retracts into a sheath, so it's like
a
sheathed,
transformer.
but you can see like the balls and the place it would come out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Nasty Blue Privates isn't entirely incorrect. Then she did make a compelling point there.
Semi-correct. Yeah.
She did mention eyes like 4 times though, so she's very obsessed with the eyes.
Well, to be fair, the giant red glowing eyes on a blue horse that killed its creator is pretty freaky. I'd be willing to believe that the airport's completely fine, but that statue is possessed.
Yeah, that statue's definitely haunted.
I think the statue's cool as fuck. It looks awesome.
It is a really.
I think it's cool too.
It is a really cool statue.
I like
and they shouldn't get
veins
rid of it.
across his-
I think it's cool,
Yeah.
and they shouldn't get rid of it. However, that being said, objectively, it is pretty creepy.
It is creepy, yeah.
I
mean,
I'd like to take the next one too, because this one's less creepy and more just kind of silly. So another statue is the Anubis statue. So in June 2010, the airport erected a 22-foot sculpture of Anubis, the ancient Egyptian god of death, until January 2011, when the traveling King Tut exhibit at the Denver Art Museum moved on. The statue sat alongside the south side of the terminal, much to the dismay of locals. People somehow connected this to conspiracies surrounding the airport in general, so much to the point that I felt I had to include it in this document. So the picture that Jackson has here of the Anubis statue makes it look like a prop out of a mini golf course just sitting in the runway.
It looks like 2 feet tall.
Yeah, it looks so small, just in the middle of nothing here in the runway.
it's just in the middle of nowhere. It's just by the terminal. I think it was just an advertisement for the King Tut exhibit. Like they were just showing that.
Yeah,
showing
well, I
that it
mean,
was
they have an
happening at the
Egyptian
time.
exhibit somewhere, so they just put an Egyptian statue.
It
But
was at
no,
the Denver Art
Anubis,
Museum.
it's another pagan deity. Looks like it's gonna kill him.
Looks like it's
Anubis.
evil.
Anubis
Okay, to
and
be fair, I'm
Lucifer are
looking at a
hanging
pic
out.
right now. It is pretty tall in photos.
Yeah, no, it's
it
22
looks like
feet tall.
30
so it is
feet.
it's
22 feet tall.
Yeah, it's pretty tall. It's not like small or anything.
It just looks
But-
really
Yeah,
small.
That picture's pretty funny though.
Yeah, it was just an advertisement though. It's not anything like nefarious. It was only there for a year, just as an advertisement for the museum exhibition. But because it was at the airport and it was kind of connected to death and stuff like that, it's part of the conspiracy now. So it's just another one of those things that point that there's a new world order of Nazis who like statues that are living underneath Denver airport. The last one, Isaiah, do you want to take this one?
Notre Denver gargoyles. Sitting above the airport's baggage claim are the Notre Denver, or the two luggage gargoyles. The gargoyles sit on an open Samsonite suitcase, a nod to the old Samsonite factory that operated in Denver until it closed in 2001. They were designed after the Notre Dame Cathedral gargoyles, which are supposed to protect all they oversee. So, the Notre Denver are, according to artist Terry Allen, there to ensure your luggage arrives safely, on time, and at the correct location. Some say they appear demonic and have a haunting presence in the area.
So they're just creepy statues yet again that they're connecting to the conspiracy overall. There's nothing really deep there. It's
I mean, I get, again, if you're buying into everything and then you see demonic winged figures above your luggage, I get it. But like it's literally the reason their gargoyles are in, like, old European architecture is as a protector thing. So them being in a suitcase, they're protecting your luggage. It's just a cute little sculpture.
Yeah, if gargoyles are like always protective or whatever, they're like friendly. Why do they get such a bad rep?
Ugly.
They're because they appear like demonic and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they're bros. They're protecting my luggage and making sure it gets through that very complicated baggage system that they've got under Denver airport.
I agree with you. I'm putting on my crazy hat.
Right.
My hat that thinks that they're there because, as mentioned earlier in the painting, the Masons under the Denver airport are trying to kill God. Okay, and then these gargoyles are going to help them start a new world order where Anubis and Lucifer rule the world. Okay,
That does make
sense. Yeah, very
Clearly,
compelling
yeah.
argument. So then we come to, you might be wondering what the airport has to say about all of this tomfoolery and people exposing the dark, sordid secrets hiding underneath the airport itself. They ignored it for the most part. They kind of tried to debunk and explain away the rationale, but obviously no one was buying that shit. That somehow all their explanations were turned around against Denver airport and led to people saying it was confirmation that there actually is something going on there. So like Charlie said before, there's no way you can like debunk this to people who are active believers. Like nothing they could say would ever convince people that runway isn't a swastika, for example. Instead of dismissing the conspiracies, though, in 2018, the marketing team decided to just play into it, which is really cool. They started like setting up posters and stuff in the new area where they were, renovating the airport, with big posters that featured pictures of aliens, reptoids, tunnels, and more, with taglines such as "under construction" or "underground tunnels," or "what's happening behind this wall." A, gargoyle breeding grounds. B, a top secret Freemason meeting. C, an improved airport experience. Another one says, cool new areas to hang out, or Area 52. And another one says, construction or cover up. So this is fun. I actually love this. This is great.
Really good.
They're just
I'm so happy. I'm so happy they lean into it.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It makes me... The one that says, what are we doing with an iguana person?
Yeah, with
That's
a reptile
great.
dude.
So good.
Yes, Denver's got some secrets and there's a giant green alien on it. Yeah. So cool. I love that. I love that it's kind of sure there's been some negative aspects of the conspiracy up to this point, like people going a bit too far on the whole artist side of the thing. But then we kind of look at it from a cultural aspect as well, and how it's kind of given the airport something unique, it's kind of created something interesting out of what is usually just a banal experience, just traveling through an airport. So it's kind of cool that it's able to give it that kind of different vibe. I appreciate it for that aspect anyway.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's the best case scenario that, they lean into it. They don't cover everything up. They don't say, oh, sorry, you didn't like it, we'll get rid of it. Like, having fun with it's the best option.
And there's no reason not to. I don't think this is a large majority of people that stop into the Denver airport like fucking shaking, getting the heebie-jeebies, walking around or anything, thinking that it's demonic or anything. I think it's just a small group, so they're just playing off it. No harm.
Yeah. And I love, like, they could have like torn down that artwork that people were up in arms about, or they could have torn down Lucifer, or they could have. Well, actually, I don't know what you would do with the Nazi symbol. I don't think you can rearrange the runways, so that one's staying. But like, they could have like pussied out about a lot of this stuff and like removed the things, but they've kind of just like left them there and played into it, which is I like that. I like that a lot. Yep. So in conclusion, Denver International Airport has become a breeding ground for conspiracy theories, fueled by a series of seemingly innocuous coincidences. It seems Denver International Airport is just a normal, regular airport at the end of the day. I mean, that's definitely what it seems like to me, with nothing strange hiding beneath the surface. So what do you guys think?
Or so they say.
Yeah, or is it? Yeah.
I realize this episode I've played the I've played like the realism card, and I don't like that. So to make my final thoughts, all of the world leaders that are actually humanoid reptiles, as we're well aware, have designed this secret bunker underneath the Denver airport. The $2 billion was spent on amenities for them and different ways for them to obtain things like goat's blood or children's blood, for their secret rituals that they're going to use to bring the demon out of Lucifer when the end times come. And then they're going to start a new world order that is ran by, gargoyles and swastikas for some reason, to take over the world. So yeah, that's what I think is going to happen.
When you say it all out loud, it really does start
it really
to
does
connect.
make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see where they're coming from now.
Yeah, I'm glad you all came to your senses.
If there's that many reptiles congregating in the airport, $2 billion, that sounds about right for like a state-of-the-art reptile humidifier system that they would probably need.
Convenient, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty convenient.
I mean, that's kind of... Yeah, that's kind of like the big thing for me that's kind of conspiratorial. What happened to that $2 billion? That's a lot of fucking money. And I just cannot see it having been wasted on that baggage system that didn't come to fruition without literal heads rolling. Like that's such a...
Well, that's not
like larger...
It's not uncommon.
Is it $2 billion wasted on a construction project?
No, that happens all the time. Like, there's one like a year ago, a big one where they were like already $3 billion something in the hole, and they still haven't finished the project. I can't remember. It might have been a train system or some shit. But that happens a lot. Going over budget on these massive projects is not uncommon.
Going over budget, yeah, but it sounds like $2 billion was just wasted with nothing to show for it, apart from tunnels. I don't know. Just seems insane to me.
It was California, and it was actually December. So California was doing a train project. It was fuck. I need to turn ad block off to get the rest. Hold on.
They're trying to stop you from getting the truth.
Yeah. Okay, here. They call it the Train to Nowhere. And they're saying that it was a foolish project, but it's $3 billion over budget, and they're requesting the Biden administration to send that. It's a high-speed rail project that was approved 15 years ago.
Jesus fucking Christ.
For where? Where's it supposed to go at? Oh, okay. Interesting.
Probably from like Sacramento.
People have talked about that forever, putting a rail system across the U.S. I don't think it's feasible.
No, it's not happening, but yeah.
Not without arranging the rail into some kind of swastika.
That's the
only yeah, you got us there. You got us there. Yeah.
Yeah, then we could get away with it. Now, yeah, we could turn that into the next conspiracy. Those $3 billion over budget. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I can make something up. Let me see some pictures of their artwork. I bet I can get some guy ran off of Facebook. Give me a minute.
Yeah, let's check under those train stations, please. I bet there's reptiles under there.
God, yeah, there's absolutely something nefarious going on here. So in 2008, voters approved initial $9 billion funding for the project, saying that it would be fully built and running by 2020, and it's still not even close.
Yep.
I know that happens all the time, running over
classic
like project
government
dates.
project.
Well, it's also $3 billion over budget though. Like they're already $3 billion in the hole.
What a joke, man.
Yeah, it happens.
How do people
all the
keep getting
time.
these jobs? All right. Do you guys have any last words about Denver Airport?
Yeah, I think it's a hub of evil, most likely.
Yep. That's a spirit.
Did it live
Another
up?
convert.
Did it live up to the hype, Charlie?
Well, I didn't know there was hype. Oh, from one guy. I guess that guy was right. This shit was crazy.
It's such a stupid conspiracy. I was so excited going into it, and I've never felt more disappointed when it comes to a conspiracy that this is what it was.
Well, this is the
Just
majority
a few
of them.
symbols.
It's literally finding messages in your cereal box. Like it's nothing. It's literally nothing for most of these.
Yeah, I love a lot of it though. I love the Lucifer, the Nazi swastika, and the paintings and stuff like that. I do like a lot of what was there. Very fun. All right, last minute words from you guys.
No, nothing on my end.
Oh, Isaiah, you just released a video. Shout it out.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
Yes.
No, that's too kind. I
No.
released a video about Ruby Ridge, which is something that we've talked about briefly when we mentioned Waco and stuff like that. So yeah, I made a Ruby Ridge video recently. Check that out on the main channel if you want. Oh, that's so sweet, Jackson.
Yeah,
Thank you.
linked below in the description as well. Go
No.
check it. It's very similar to the content we're doing here on Red Thread. So obviously people might be interested in that. So go check
That's
it
very
out.
kind. Thank you.
Other than that, thank you everyone for tuning in to hear about Denver Airport. You may have noticed that this episode came out only a week after the last episode. That's a conspiracy in of itself on its own. So do some digging and find out what that means. Yeah, it's going weekly for the foreseeable future. We're enjoying doing this so much. So,
So we are announcing it. We're officially saying it now. That
Yeah,
we are
yeah.
weekly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sick.
So
Yeah, we're weekly show now, guys. Thanks to your all support. Thanks to how kind you guys have been. The support you've given has afforded us the opportunity to be able to do it weekly. Like, it makes sense to put that time into it.
Yeah.
And that really does mean the world. Thank you all so much.
Thanks,
for that.
everybody.
thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week on the Red Thread.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
See ya, man.